when you speak about performances right now, how many of these artists really can perform? You still got to go back to cats from the 90s to get a good performance. The Busta Rhymes,
yes.
You know,
Yes.
KRS-One, Juice, Public Enemy, you know, DMX. It's like they don't know the elements, so they just come up on stage and sing their song and walk around. You know, back in the day, you had Kane, you had all these other dudes. They had dances, they had the DJ, you had Mr. C, you had everything. You had a whole show to go with it. That's why they can still come out and perform and draw large crowds and still sell, because they have a performance to give you. They're not walking back and forth on the stage. They can actually give it to you in a performance and rip the show all night. So when I say that, my question I ask to you, is it a difference? Because I like to say there's a difference between MCing and a rapper. Because to me, like you said, MC controls the crowd. He can move it, and the rapper just, you know, he's just entertaining. He's just out there singing his song. To you, do you agree with that, or what do you think?
I do, and before I answer that question, one of my favorite performers, RIP, was Heavy D. To watch this big dude,
no doubt,
who can move the way he can move was crazy.
Yes.
Now, to answer your question, absolutely. The difference between an MC and rapper is night and day. Now, an MC can rap, but rappers can rarely MC. The art, the cleverness, the double, triple entendres, understanding breath control, understanding you had to say something. It was about your witty and intelligence being brought into the rhyme and how you did it. Rappers is a lower vibration. It's like they lowered the vibratory rate of the MC so that Europeans and other people could. This is when they started making money off of it. And you got to look at Sugar Hill Gang, who I love and respect, because that record became big. But remember, prior to Sugar Hill Gang, nobody knew who they were. They was a makeshift group put together, and then when they went a hit, they made it. They slowed the vibratory rate down just enough where, you know, your moms or somebody who hated hip hop prior to that, because in their opinion it was a bunch of noise and this and that. You know, even they would say, "Oh, that's a cool record." MCs, sometimes you got to listen to what they say 9, 10 times before you grasp it. But the slow and lower down vibratory rate is more Mickey Mouse rhymes. Don't make it complicated. Keep it simple so that people in the club, whether they white people, black people who don't really understand the intricacies of an MC, can still appreciate it. And that's when record labels said, all right, we can make money off this. Because even Run DMC, you know, when they had what's going on across the seas, all of that, very rudimentary. No disrespect, it was rudimentary. So all of that began the process of commercializing the rapper. And it began, but luckily for us, we had Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One and Kool G Rap and MCs, and still emerged out of it. But then they was going to war with those who just wanted to rap. And nowadays you have one of the greatest rappers in Drake, who mastered the art of rap. Now Drake can do a little bit of MCing too. I'm not gonna hate on him, but women and kids and people love Drake because it's very in your face and it's very simple. With Kendrick Lamar, it's very complex. You know what I mean? And how he delivers what he delivers. So he's cut from the cloth of an MC, and Drake is more so cut from the cloth of an advanced rapper.
Right.
And as you say that, if you notice, when we had the late 80s and going into the 90s, when it was more about the bars, and the MCs was like, you know, we had the Nas's and we had the Clan and we had all of them, you know, no matter Craig G, whoever, Kool G Rap, all of them, they had the bars, Biggie, everybody was about the bars. But then as you notice, and more New York dominated and then California dominated, but they had to slow it down to get everybody else around the world on course with it. It feels like. That's what it felt like to me coming from New York. And then going to the South. It's like, okay, you know, they're like, well, yeah, you know, Outkast came, but I was like, Outkast was really spitting bars, though. They was like, they wasn't your regular down south MC, they was actually putting it together and making bars and making good music. Like they came from that club.
They were the exception to the rule. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, and now that you think of it, going into the 2000s, that's why you see they don't have an attention span for New York rappers who spit bar after bar after bar. It has to be like a few bars, then the hook, so they can dance, so they can catch on. It can't be like the Illmatic album. Like that's what I always tell my kids. Like you'll never get another album like Illmatic because y'all don't understand that. Y'all can't even appreciate that. Y'all can't even appreciate that. He did 10 songs, and those are the hardest 10 songs you've ever heard. Like, get your favorite rapper today, and they can't do that. They can't give you 10 songs.
Yo, he put train sounds in the background. You know what I'm saying? He put the 7 train in the background. Come on, man. Word.
Yes.
Come on, so, that was brilliant. That's what I mean. Like, you can't get that. You don't have that. You got Kendrick. Kendrick Lamar's a dope MC. I like him. I like J. Cole. I like those type MCs because they remind me of where I come from in my era. I like the bars. I'm a bar person. I love to hear the bars. I love to hear MCs break it up.
That's why I love Cambada. When I heard Cambada, I said, okay, this is a guy who's got some bars. Now, you got to remember, this became the most popular music in the world, and if people of European descent and all that don't understand the alchemy of it, the spiritual essence of how we put words together, then they had to lower the vibratory rate so that it's very, very easy so that they can make their money. But money ain't everything. There's a war going on. There's always a war between spiritual and material. And even in the music, there's a war going on. And I give Diddy, Diddy had his moment, but Diddy made it very common. You know what I'm saying? The tracks he was choosing, and he was about, let's make this for everybody. And I understood, but there are always consequences for that kind of action.
Yes.
The only thing he had in his favor, he had Biggie with him, so we still gave him a pass because Biggie's bars were extraordinary.
So tell me that you talk about Biggie. Like I've always, like me and CV, we talk about it all the time. And one of the things I always say is that, the Russell Simmons, the Diddy's, they opened the door to the commercialism, and they took away, they sold our culture out, basically, for the money. I mean, that's how I look at it. How you feel?
I feel the same way, and I'm not sure that's what their intentions were, but at the end of the day, when you make something available to a vast amount of people, you have to understand that what became special and sacred about it is now easily accessible to anybody and everybody. I went through this in the conscious community. There was a time in the conscious community when you had to show up at these lectures. It'd be 50, 60 people. The only way to watch it was on VHS tapes and cassette tapes. And then the internet opened this up to people who weren't ready to digest that type of information, and now it's a mess. I saw the same thing happen in hip-hop. Russell Simmons used to come up to the Bronx and hang out at, Bronx River and those places. And then when he got on, I thought it was interesting. He didn't pick nobody on from those eras. But from the Bronx, he went and found his own thing because I think deep down inside he knew he was violating something very sacred. Now, the very first record on Def Jam is by Tila Rock and Jazzy J, but from there he went to LL Cool J and then went into Run DMC, Beastie Boys, and he never went back to the Bronx to put on a bunch of brothers and sisters. He wanted to do his own thing so he could capitalize, and every hip-hop mogul who came after him used Russell's blueprint as the template, and now the culture is totally sold out.
Well, let me ask you about one person, because we always, people who are like hip-hop historians, we know about Grandmaster Caz. So why does a person like that, who has notebooks full of rhymes and bars, like, how did he not get on?
It's real interesting because I know the Cold Crush personally. So I was just on the phone with Almighty KG from the Cold Crush yesterday because it was his birthday. So they were the standard of what I call the chaos realm of hip hop. And this is before records.